What's up guys, it's Achisai here, and I've got with me a new class that just released today. And trannies, you're gonna love this. This class does turn you into a chick, although there are no boobies, but whatever I guess. Anyways, a brief talk on this class. It's a variant of the Thief of Hours class, although this is kind of like an upgrade with more complex skills, and it does require some skill in using the class. So if you're looking for a class that you come into a room and you want to kill everything, then this is not your class. This class does take time to use and stacking. So yeah, let me get straight to the skills. This first skill, rather the auto attack, is called Strike Blades, and it's super fast. It has a 1 second cooldown. Doesn't do so much damage, but it's pretty fast. You can rely on it, and this class is kind of dodgy away in a bit. Kind of dodgy, not so much, depending on your enhancements. But yeah, the auto attack is really fast, 1 second cooldown. Anyways, now the second skill here, or after the first skill, is called Shift. So basically this skill does very light damage to your opponent and applies push time. Another thing I forgot to mention, the animations of this class are absolutely lovely. I love them, and although they all have to do with time and stuff, but they are pretty cool, and I like the person has been doing the animations. So this first skill here increases your dodge and haste by 8% for 12 seconds, stacks up to 5 times. So basically you're going to increase your haste and dodge by 8%. If you stack it 5 times, that'll be a total of 40%. So you're going to be super fast, especially on this auto attack, which would be like what, 0.6 second cooldown. But yeah, this stacks up to 5 times and has an 8% increase in dodge and haste. So yeah, this skill also does another thing if you have this skill in play, which I'm gonna get to right now. So yeah, this skill is called Relapse, and basically this skill does everything to every skill. So you're gonna really need this skill, and you're gonna have to use it to decide what you can do the other skills. So this skill called here, it applies Deadlock. It applies Deadlock, and I like the animations. It looks pretty cool. So this skill applies Deadlock, and it stacks up to 4 times. I know most people complain about Thief of Hours not healing you with one of the skills. So yeah, this class does heal you. If you stack it up to 4 times, the Deadlock skill applies an HOT on you, and it gets replaced with another skill. So yeah, let me see the heal. Let's see just how much it is, although it depends on your enhancement. So yeah, I got a 70 HOT, which is lacking in Thief of Hours. But this class does have it, so it goes to show that AE does know that Thief of Hours is kind of bugged. So yeah, I don't know when they're planning on fixing it, maybe on server rewrite. But anyways, this skill applies Deadlock and stacks up to 4 times. After 4 stacks, Deadlock gets removed and you get replaced by Reverse Time, giving you an HOT. Now if you have Reverse Time in play and you use the first skill, of course, it does something else. It increases your damage output by 20% and applies Pull Time, lowering your enemy's haste and dodge by 15%. So if you want to get those buffs, you're going to need to stack this 5 times, rather 4 times, and get your Reverse Time in play and then using this skill. So just on the first 2 skills, you can see how kind of complicated this class is. So here on the third skill, or the first skill, depending on how you're looking at it, it's called Convert. So basically this does moderate damage to your opponent and applies Condensed Time. It increases your critical strike chance and critical damage by 10% for 12 seconds, also stacking up to 5 times. So another stacking skill. This let me show you the animation real quick. I like this one. They're all kind of the same. Yeah, it does look like this one, but it's in the reverse order and a different color. But yeah, basically this stacks up to 5 times, like the first skill here, and increases your critical damage and by 10% for 12 seconds. If you have this skill in play, that is if you stack this up to 5 times, 4 times rather, and you use this skill, basically what happens, replaces it with Temporal Blades, which increases your damage output by 20% and applies Depressed Time, lowering your opponent's critical strike chance and critical strike damage by 15%. As you can see from these 3 skills, this second skill is very critical. It basically determines how you're going to use the remaining skills, and it's all up to you basically. If you don't like classes that require some thinking and timing, then you probably don't want this class. If you're like me, who kind of like some trickiness and some skilling classes, then you're gonna love this class. Although functions the same way as Thief of Hours with some added buffs here and there. So yeah, That's this skill. And for this skill, Hysteria, the last skill, as you can probably guess, it applies you Temporal Insanity, which is the same as in Thief of Hours, though with some added buffs. It applies Enhanced Time, which reduces your damage your enemy takes by 15%. So in other words, this is kind of like a buff to your enemies. If you use this skill on an enemy, they can't hit you, of course, but then also you give them a defense buff of 50%. So yeah, it's kind of counteracts all these other skills, but it's all your choice anyways. So this reduces damage your enemy takes by 15%. And if Reverse Time is in play, once again, this skill right here, if that skill is in play, it replaces your auto attack, will replace it with Temporal Blades, which increases their damage output by 20% and applies Probe Time, which increases the damage your opponent does by 50%. In other words, a brief summary of this last skill is that you make them unable to attack you, of course, because they're going to hit themselves, but at a cost of, if you have these things stacked up to 4 times and use this skill, you're going to give them a defense buff and an attack buff. So all up to you basically. If you don't have this skill, you're just going to give them a defense buff. In conclusion, this class is pretty tricky, and if you want to use this class perfectly, you're going to really need some skill and some time in mastering the class. I'd recommend you start with this to get your dodge and haste up, so you'll be pretty fast and be able to juggle between all these other skills. So yeah, apart from that, I love the animations of this class, and I hope you enjoy this class. Peace.